Hello everybody, I'm Eddie Muller. Welcome back to TCM's Noir Alley. This week's movie is a wartime offering, a small but significant picture called The Mask of Dimitrios. Released in 1944, the year generally considered to be the start of the film noir movement in Hollywood, with films like Double Indemnity, Phantom Lady, and Murder My Sweet being released upon an unsuspecting public. Those pictures were made at Paramount, Universal, and RKO, respectively. This one, produced at Warner Brothers, is rarely included on the list of films that inspired the noir movement, even though, as you'll see, its noir vibe is second to none. The Mask of Dimitrios doesn't get its due as a noir progenitor because it's not a story of the hard-boiled school, like the books by James M. Cain, Cornell Woolrich, and Raymond Chandler, which were the basis for those other films I mentioned. Rather, it's based on a novel by Englishman Eric Ambler, a master of international intrigue. As such, it doesn't cast America in a shadowy light, if that makes sense. This one starts in Istanbul, or a Hollywood variation thereof, and it caroms around the Middle East and Europe, which most Americans already visualized as a terrain of mystery and foreboding. Ambler has much in common with fellow Englishman Graham Greene, who also wrote several classic thrillers with geopolitical backdrops. In fact, Greene's most famous film creation, The Third Man, owes a bit to The Mask of Dimitrios. Both revolve around a recondite black marketeer who is pursued and eventually flushed from the shadows by a writer of mystery novels. There's also a woman who can't help but carry a torch for her cold-hearted mercenary lover. Ambler, however, didn't have Greene's high-minded literary ambitions. He was content writing spy stories and thrillers. And although he'd never enjoy Greene's reputation as one of the great novelists of the 20th century, a consistent run of bestsellers over several decades was more than adequate compensation. Movies based on Ambler's novels include Journey into Fear, Background to Danger, The October Man, and Topkapi. In addition, his screenwriting credits include The Way Ahead, The Clouded Yellow, A Night to Remember, and The Cruel Sea, which earned him an Oscar nomination. Now, the script for Dimitrios was written by Frank Gruber, a one-time penny-a-worder for the pulps, who was so broke during the Depression, he hand-delivered his stories to publishers to save on postage. He came to Hollywood in 1942, quickly scoring real money, cranking out scripts, typically B-westerns and crime pictures. Warner's actually began production on this film as if it was a B, before boosting the budget and the runtime up to A-picture status. By the time the cameras rolled, it was co-starring two of the hottest actors on the lot. This was already the fifth on-screen pairing of Sidney Greenstreet and Peter Lorre. In 1944 alone, they appeared in 4 movies together. The unique union began, of course, with The Maltese Falcon in 1941, where they first displayed the irresistible chemistry that made them, in a way, the Mutt and Jeff of film noir.
Let us at least cultivate an illusion of friendship.
I could think of a lot of reasons why I shouldn't have dinner with you. Just the same, I will.
Incidentally, the original director of The Maltese Falcon was to have been Jean Negulesco, until screenwriter John Huston pulled rank and made Dashiell Hammett's classic story his directorial debut. Negulesco was a Romanian who had studied all his life to be a fine art painter. In the early 1930s, he traveled across America, earning his way painting and selling portraits. Once in Hollywood, he caught on as a sketch artist and designer, gaining behind-the-scenes notoriety for storyboarding the infamous rape scene in 1933's The Story of Temple Drake, drawing out precisely images that could withstand scrutiny by the Hays Code. For more than 10 years, Negulesco worked as a second-unit director and maker of short subjects, until finally, in 1944, he got his breakthrough assignment, this film. The Mask of Dimitrios was perfect material for a director with a vivid pictorial sense and a flair for exotic art direction. Negulesco and his DP, Arthur Edison, who'd photographed The Maltese Falcon and Casablanca, worked wonders recreating Ambler's world of danger and intrigue on the studio backlot in Burbank, California. And it's interesting to note that 3 of Negulesco's first 4 features, this, The Conspirators, and 3 Strangers, all co-starred Peter Lorre and Sidney Greenstreet. For me, they were at their absolute best under Negulesco's direction. For the record, the director called Peter Lorre the most talented man I have ever seen. Now, as for the mysterious Dimitrios Markopoulos, he's played by an actor making his motion picture debut. Zachary Scott was discovered by Jack Warner himself, who saw him in a Broadway play and promptly signed him to a contract. Originally, the role of Dimitrios was to be played by Austrian actor Helmut Dantine, who'd made an impression in the big MGM hit Mrs. Miniver. But just like that, Dantine was out and Scott was in. So far in that in his first movie he got star billing on the posters, below Greenstreet but above Peter Lorre. Also starring Faye Emerson, who'd eventually make 4 pictures with Zachary Scott, here is Jean Negulesco's very atmospheric and vastly entertaining The Mask of Dimitrios.